I want to know who those people are so I can personally buy a plane ticket to their city, find their house.
Just get a bullhorn outside their house.
Yeah.
Excuse me, you are wrong.
Hello and welcome to Steam Powered Movies. My name is Mike, and I'm here with...
Hello, my name is Dana Fraedrich, and I am a steampunk and fantasy author. I am a maker of many things. I am an educator, and something you said like earlier today, fantastical wizard of creation or something like that.
Yes, you have many hats and create many things.
I'll put that on my business card.
It's going to go on the business card.
Yeah.
100%. And today is a special Christmas episode of this podcast.
Jingle bells, ring-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, because I don't actually have any in my hand.
It'll be in the intro music. Don't worry about it. We'll do it all professional sounding and stuff.
Because you are professional.
Sometimes, yes. Today, we're here to talk about a very special Christmas movie. One of our favorites.
It's so good.
That we have seen many, many times. But we watched it again just to be sure it's fresh. Today's movie is A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Woo! Finally, I'm so glad. I pushed for this last year.
You did. You pushed for it last year. People, you can check the episodes where Dana pushed for it. And it was also recommended to us by a listener.
Yes. So this is my dear friend, Jen Dunnigan. She is also the owner and operator of Archimedes Azure, which is an extremely cool company of curios and fun things. She's so creative and does many, many things. If you're at TeslaCon or any other steampunk shows, she's probably there. Check her out. She's super cool.
Yeah, if you're at TeslaCon, say hi to Dana in the next couple days.
Yeah.
After this comes out.
That's right. Jen and I will be there. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, thanks to Jen for recommending it. If any of you listening have any recommendations for us, for any steampunk movies for us to talk about, you can hit us up on the socials. We are at SteamPoweredPod on Twitter or at Steam-Powered Movies on Threads or Instagram. So, Dana.
Yes.
Talking about Muppet Christmas Carol.
Right.
It's a movie that was released in 1992.
Yeah.
So many years ago.
Yes.
Directed by Brian Henson.
Okay, yeah, that's Jim Henson's son.
Yep. Brought to us by Walt Disney Pictures. Starring Michael Caine.
Legend.
And also Gonzo.
Gonzo the Great, sir. You need to get his title correct.
The Great Gonzo. I am so sorry. Am I going to get canceled now? Is this how it happens?
This is how you get canceled, yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, my apologies to Gonzo the Great, Miss Piggy, and Fozzie. I love that the Muppets themselves are credited in the opening credits.
Of course.
Along with Michael Caine.
They're celebrities.
They are.
They're up there with SIR Michael Caine. I think he's been knighted.
I believe so, yeah. After this movie. He was not SIR Michael Caine in the credits, but I believe he has since been SIR Michael Caine.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Because I know that this film has had a profound impact on the both of us.
Yes.
Would you like to, kind of similar to what we did with our first steampunk movie impressions, like when we talked in our first and second episode, what history do you have with this film?
Oh man, it's so much. It's hard to parse it out at this point. To let the listeners in on our tradition is we watch this film every year.
Yeah, while we're putting up the tree.
Usually while we're putting up the tree. This year an exception. We haven't put the tree up yet. We're going to very soon. But yeah, we watch it every year. So we've seen it many times. I saw it as a kid growing up at some point. I don't remember the first time I saw it. It's kind of just always been there as a thing. I was a fan of the Muppet movies in general when I was a kid.
They're wonderful.
Yeah. The original Muppet movie being the best, of course. And this one is
debatable.
A close second, maybe the best. Maybe this one's better. It's a top two with the original Muppet movie. It's just really good. I've seen it a billion times. I know it inside out. I know it like the back of my hand.
There's a mole on my thumb and a scar from my wrist from when I fell off my bike. Oh my goodness. I have some strong feelings about the placement of this film in both Muppet canon and just general cinematic history.
Yeah.
But we'll
yeah.
get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like what's your like background or history with this movie?
So I have adored this movie basically like since the year it came out as like a small child.
Right.
And
Very small.
let me tell you the impact of this film on me.
Okay.
So when I was little, I would often go and stay with my great grandma, Gigi, for either a week in the summer or maybe some time like when I was home from school or whatever, like during the school year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Gigi, in the fashion of many older folks, did not have a lot of like modern entertainments for a young person such as I.
Sure.
But
Sure. So no like Nintendo console.
No.
Or like cable TV.
Absolutely not. Nothing like that. She had an antenna and she had a VHS player.
Nice.
And I watched this movie on repeat. And not only that, I had a dual cassette boombox
Okay.
that I used to record all of the songs because I put the boombox next to the TV.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And then would like stop it and start it around the songs.
That is incredible.
And then I would listen to it on repeat.
I had no idea.
Oh my gosh. I loved this movie so much. I still do.
Oh, it's great. And the songs are great.
Yeah. Oh, they slap.
I mean, shout out to Paul Williams, who wrote the songs for this.
Oh, okay.
I did a little looking at him up as we were starting the movie.
Indeed.
It seems like one of his first things was he wrote one of the main songs, if not the main song, and was nominated for like an Oscar or a Grammy or both for A Star Is Born, the original.
When you say A Star Is Born, is that the one like A Star Is Born?
Well, they like remade it recently with like Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Oh, that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of something totally different. I'm not actually sure what I'm quoting. It just lives in my head rent free.
Yeah, that's something else. But yeah, he like wrote a big song for that original movie like back in the 70s,
Oh,
80s,
okay.
something like that.
Huh.
Yeah, at me with the correction. I'm sure I'm wrong about something. But he also did like songs for a bunch of the other Muppet movies and for the TV show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so well done by him.
Yeah.
Super good job of writing these songs. Very clever and catchy and well written.
The
all
opening
around.
song is a banger.
Oh yeah.
There goes Mr. Outrage. There goes Mr. Sneer.
Yeah. Yeah, the first couple songs in this just really set the mood, set the tone, set the scene with all the Muppet characters. Like you get little cameos from pretty much all of the Muppet characters that show up throughout the film in the opening sequence. Just yeah, super great.
There is an exception to this, however.
What's that?
Okay. So you had said as we were watching at the very end, there was a song playing that was not played during the film. That song is called The Love Is Gone.
Yes.
And that was part of the original film. There's a whole scene where Belle, the woman who Ebenezer loved, like sings this at him, is like, oh, like, you know, we had this great life, but now it's gone.
Yeah.
And it was a real downer.
Super downer. Yeah.
And they cut, it was in the original VHS.
Oh, yeah. I think I do remember, when I saw this growing up, that scene was included, but now it's part of the, like, deleted scenes.
Yeah.
It's not part of the, like, digital release version of it, which is interesting, but I think it's a good decision.
No, I remember, even as a child, I was like, I am so bored during this part. Can we please get back to the rest of it? Because it's so long, and it's a very slow song.
Yeah. I think cutting the song, you still get a good sense of that story beat with the short conversation they have.
Yeah, and like Rizzo's crying.
Yeah. Rizzo and Gonzo the Great, interjecting as they do in great ways. But before we get too deep into the movie, let's, I guess, introduce the podcast. This is Steam Powered Movies.
We're doing good. We're so good at this. We're totally professionals.
Where we watch a steampunk movie and then talk about it. And sometimes it's very steampunk, and sometimes we kind of cheat a little bit because we just really like this movie, want to talk about it.
Oh, honey. Don't think we're cheating that much. I have dissertations for you.
Okay, then please justify us
Excuse
including
you?
this great movie.
You think this needs justification?
I don't
All
know.
right, sit yourself down. Good, you're already sat down. Let's go. All right, let's talk about the urban gothic genre.
Okay.
I never like to say so-and-so invented it because honestly, generally when someone has quote unquote invented something, it's already kind of existed. That person popularized it.
Right.
That person
Right.
made it famous. Charles Dickens popularized the urban gothic genre,
Okay.
where essentially the city itself is even a character. It has
Right.
a personality. And as with
And a
much,
bunch of singing vegetables, of course.
that's 100% part of the urban gothic genre
Yes.
is singing vegetables.
Yes. Yeah, very essential to it.
Right.
Continue, please.
But no, okay. So urban gothic genre is also kind of recognized. It's generally post-industrial society where, you know, we have all of these issues that have come in with the Industrial Revolution. You have a lot of class issues. Generally, the vibe is very dark and gritty, and just there's just that feeling
Mhm.
in the air of like we are deep in the bowels of this city and seeing the inner machinations of it.
Okay.
And there's a deep history of the Gothic genre influencing steampunk, and also like there's a whole line of like women's fiction kind of being wrapped up with the Gothic fiction and yellowbacks and all this kind of stuff. So
Okay.
there's some deep literature nerdery
I'm
happening
going to
here.
be Wikipediaing some of these things later. You can do that as well, listeners, if you don't understand or follow all of the nerdery that is happening in front of us.
Those of you who do understand, you are my people, and I appreciate you very much. Okay, so anyway, urban Gothic genre, very sort of sister genre to steampunk.
Okay.
Because a lot of steampunk is set in cities. There's a lot of focus on that industrial era
Right.
stuff, as well as all of the issues that come with it.
Yeah. Now, so obviously this is set in like that Victorian era.
Yeah.
The late 1800s. Instead of being focused on like the industrial center, though, this is more around Scrooge and his like financial sector of the city.
Okay, yes, but also we have a lot of class issues happening. So Scrooge is a moneylender. He is a kind of like a mortgage broker guy. He
Yeah.
owns people's houses. And there's that whole conversation where he's like, foreclosure season is harvest season. Like we're very much
The Christmas season, yeah, it's
we're very
like-
much preying on the lower classes.
Oh, yeah.
So, and there's just all of that stuff and dynamics and whatnot happening. So like I said, urban gothic is very much sort of a sister genre to steampunk.
Right.
And also we have all of the fashion. Did you not see those starched collars, the bonnets, the mob caps, those glorious like little capelets we had going on?
Oh, yeah, I did.
I have to say, this,
A nice overcoat.
a
All the
great
men,
coat.
very nice overcoats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, top hats, all the things. This adaptation is, fight me, the best literature adaptation we have. Period. Done.
Wow.
Game over.
Wow.
No, seriously, hands down. This is the best book to film adaptation in existence. I'm saying it now.
I cannot mount a strong argument against you
Mhm.
for two reasons.
Mhm.
One, I don't know enough about books because I've read only a handful, maybe 30. I
I've
don't
read
know.
30 this year.
Well, I've read 30 in a lot more years than that. So, but also, I think I agree with you. It's a fantastic adaptation
Mhm.
of the book. There are several film adaptations of A Christmas Carol
Mhm.
by Charles Dickens. I think this is by far the best
Yes.
of those adaptations.
Mhm.
Of the Christmas Carol adaptations, I think this is easy, hands down, the best. Of all books adapted into movies of all time, I cannot speak on that,
Mhm.
but you are entitled to your opinion, and I cannot argue against it.
I will say, I love the 2005 version of Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley, and that is an excellent adaptation. This one still beats it. And you know who else agrees with me?
Who's that?
Brett Goldstein.
Okay. Who is that?
I'm Roy Kent.
Enough said.
Yep.
Who would argue with Roy Kent?
That's right. You don't want to get headbutted.
No. No, but it is really, really well done. And I think a couple of things about how it's adapted to the audience that it's targeted towards are
Which
really
is
well
children.
done. Right. It's targeted towards children, but also like families in general.
Mm-hmm.
So adults and parents too. Introducing the Muppets to the cast introduces an element of like levity and comedy. Maybe but definitely my favorite part of this film, also mentioned Gonzo the Great and Rizzo the Rat as Charles Dickens, the narrator,
They're
and his
so
assistant.
good.
It's such a great framing device. Like so many movies frame with narration or with like a narrator or someone telling a story and it's kind of clunky. This is really, really well done.
It's so good.
One, because he mostly just quotes the book.
Yeah.
So he is playing the part of Charles Dickens as the narrator. But also like Rizzo just inserting the little asides and jokes and Gonzo playing off of that. It injects levity at just the right points in the story where it could be overwhelmingly like dark and dismal given the setting and the subject matter and everything. But it's just that right amount of levity to keep you engaged and keep you going and not become like just depressed by this, bleak landscape. It's great. It's great. Fantastic.
And do you know what it does not do?
What's that?
It doesn't undercut the serious moments with a joke. Like,
yes,
when the Ghost of Christmas Future comes in, Rizzo and Gonzo are like, sorry guys, we outie.
Yeah.
We'll catch you at the end. Yeah. And then they just like yeet out of there.
Meet you at the finale.
Yeah.
And they just peace out. Yeah, but then that allows the movie to have that gravitas for that moment. And it saves it for that too.
Yeah. Like
the earlier parts are interjecting more humor. They save it for that impactful moment at the end.
Yeah.
With the Ghost of Christmas Future. And, you might get a little choked up. You might get affected. It's very effective.
No, like throughout the years, at various points in my life, this movie has still like brought me to tears. It's just, there's just so much heart. Like this is cinema done truly well.
I
will fight anyone who's like, oh no, it's a Muppet movie, or oh no, it's like a dumb kids movie. Like, come on, let's go.
It's really well done. Like I watched it this time trying to analyze it from like a filmmaking perspective. Not that I'm like a real film critic or filmmaker or anything. I've just watched some Corridor Crew videos or and listened to some other podcasts. But I think it's really well done. Obviously with the Muppets being involved, you have to cleverly frame things so you can't see the sticks or the wires.
Yeah.
But it's done really well.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple scenes where you could tell that maybe there were some effects involved. Maybe they were trying to hide some wires.
It was 1992.
But that makes it even more impressive, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was not like computer generated animation at that time. There was no real CGI of any great magnitude. There were some films who had done some CGI, but not a lot, and not in this kind of aesthetic. There was no way to fit it in. It was just, I think there was maybe one scene that was stop motion with the penguins on the ice.
Was it stop motion?
There was like one shot that I was like, is that stop motion? Anybody who knows about like the making of this, like message us, like let me know if anybody knows anything about this. But I could swear that there was like one scene that was stop motion.
I don't know.
Just mixed in there. So
yeah, it might have just been the cutting that made it seem like that.
Maybe, but like, yeah, great job to Brian Henson for directing a very well-made film.
And this is a travesty. This movie has a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. Which is why you cannot trust critics, okay? Critics are full of garbage, all right? That is bull honky.
I want to know who those people are so I can personally buy a plane ticket to their city, find their house.
Just get a bullhorn outside their house.
Yeah.
Excuse me, you are wrong. You need to fix your Rotten Tomatoes score.
I will say anything them to correct their opinion on the Muppet Christmas Carol. It's a masterpiece. 100% rating. Please, people.
Isn't Say Anything with like a boombox like above your head?
Yeah. That was the boombox thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I get it. I get what I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Explain the joke. It makes it funnier.
Yeah. It's so much better that way. So, also, total side note.
Okay.
There is an audiobook version of A Christmas Carol that is read by Tim Curry, and it is peak. You will be glad you listened to that version.
Tim Curry. Okay.
Oh, it's so good. I listened to it a couple of years ago. I think it was 2020, and I was desperate for like just things to make me feel happy and enriched and things like that. And it's so good.
Yeah. Speaking of English people who do a great job.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Michael Caine?
Of course.
Yeah, he carries this movie.
Oh, he's like looking straight into a puppet's face and dead serious about everything he's saying.
Yeah. Straight into the camera and just, yeah. And I do think that he brings an element that goes with like the Muppet and the family theme of this, where he's not playing 100% like hardened, cruel, but he plays it like he's still like a scared little boy who is putting on a face of being hard and cruel to the world when he's being seen. And it kind of just melts away throughout the movie. But I think his casting is perfect for that.
Yeah. I think that is a really good description. I hadn't thought about it in that way or like articulated it in that way, but I think you're right, because when they play the game at Fred's house, it's not 20 questions. They called it something else.
Like questions and answers or something?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So he's like playing along, and he and Clara both say cat, and he's like, I said it first.
Right.
I feel like that was a little bit of like a turning moment for him. It was very good.
Also, Fred, like, kind of a jerk.
Oh, okay. But like, you have to understand, he's such an unkind dude. And that's very much the moment, like when you find out nobody likes you, like really strongly dislikes you.
Yeah. Although I think that there is like maybe a more modern reading of the Fred character that I was kind of formulating as we were watching it. In that scene where they play yes and no, and he is, Ebenezer's mean, but he's his family, and Fred is like delighting in roasting him to his friends. He is like really enjoying roasting his friends. Even earlier in the film, we saw him like putting on a show of being generous and nice to the charity people and setting up Ebenezer to try to get him to give money. He knew it wasn't going to happen. And then at the end, when Scrooge comes in and is like being all cheerful and Christmassy, Fred's wife is like, oh, this is great. And Fred looks frightened. And like, Fred looks broken down at seeing even Ebenezer coming around on Christmas. I don't know. He feels like...
I think he was just shocked.
Well, definitely shocked.
Yeah.
I think for the time he was just playing shocked. But I don't know now. He seems kind of like some of those people who like to be like high and mighty about their morals, but don't 100% practice it. They look for other people to look down on. And then when Ebenezer comes around to actually celebrating Christmas, Fred is kind of put in his place, I think.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's just a theory I was bouncing around my head.
I think it's interesting. Like, is there an argument here for like toxic cheerfulness? Is there kind of a closer examination of Fred? Because we don't really get his character hardly at all. We get like 3 minutes of screen time with him,
Bits
maybe.
and pieces, yeah.
But like,
I am stretching 3 minutes of screen time into a broad
I like
theory.
It, though. I really like it. So John Scalzi has that quote, and you're going to have to bleep me a little bit.
Okay.
But John Scalzi has that quote that asshole is the failure mode of cleverness. And do you kind of feel like Fred is falling into that? Like, oh, I'm so clever. And actually, you're kind of just being a little bit of an asshole.
Yeah, I think that might be it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's trying to be clever, and he's trying to like show off that, he's a kind, generous person, and Ebenezer is not. He's comparing himself to Scrooge to make himself look good, but now Ebenezer is coming around and he's seen the light, and I think Fred might have to get his act together and like actually practice what he preaches every moment of the day.
Interesting. So you feel like maybe positive impact of this story has further reaching effects than just Scrooge and the Cratchit family, that maybe even like Fred is like kind of gets his head screwed on a little bit straighter.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's to get him to come around to not just seeing himself in opposition to other people, but really, you know, everyone coming together.
Okay.
Being a real community.
I don't remember how Fred's character is described at all in the book. So I don't know. Maybe we're spot on. Maybe we're totally off base. I don't know.
Well, anyway, maybe it's a good lesson regardless.
Yeah. Okay.
Who knows?
Okay.
Not what you expected to get into, huh?
Right. No, this is great. I love it. I love it.
We have basically no plan for this episode because we love this movie so much. We could just talk for hours about how great it is.
I was like mouthing along with all the lines in the beginning, just line for line. I was just going. More on the steampunk thing.
Okay.
We have these gorgeous sets.
Yes.
This is such an immersive film. Like you feel like you are sitting in 19th century London. Like as you're walking through these sets, everything is perfect. All of the clothing is perfect. All of the sets are so intricate and wonderful. I will say, I think I saw 2 little secrets in the set. Okay, so when Scrooge has had this great revelation and they're like kind of trotting through the town and giving away gifts and all this kind of stuff, there were 2 shop names I noticed. Okay. The first one was half covered up with a wreath, but I think it was Statler and Waldorf.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I think you're right.
Because I think that one they passed twice, on the way there and the way back.
Mm-hmm. And I also caught that there was some writing but couldn't figure out what it was. Yeah. Good catch.
And then there's another one that you can see just as they're coming up to Bob Cratchit's house that's called Micklewhite's. And fun fact, that is Michael Caine's real surname.
No way.
It is.
That is something I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I mean, it might be a complete coincidence, but it feels like an Easter egg.
No, I'm with you. The one thing that I caught this time that I never noticed before was when they bring the turkey into the Cratchit house. Right after the turkey is a basket full of booze.
Of course there is. I mean, they knew how to celebrate in the 19th century.
I just love that they snuck that in the family film. It's great. And I never noticed it before.
Yep. Yeah.
So many, good little things visually or like writing wise.
This film,
it is the American way.
Like little whisper. I mean, it's just the British way.
Yeah. That's a trope of Muppet movies in general. You got to have a fourth wall break somewhere. And that was the one for this one. I mean, besides the narration, I guess, being a whole entire fourth wall thing. But like the actual narrative breaking the fourth wall, it was good.
This also has one of my favorite tropes, which is an entire scene of people celebrating and jumping around and dancing or what have you. And then just like one grumpy person in the center of it doing nothing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And they had that during, what is it? Stop and look around you. No, wait. The first reprise of that. The season of the hear it. The make it last all year. I know I'm getting my lines mixed up.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
But yeah, with the Ghost of Christmas Present. So, they're singing, they're dancing, and Scrooge is just there in the middle, just standing still.
Just like he was at Fozziwig's too when they were all partying there.
Oh yeah,
at the Rubber Chicken Factory.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
which I'd forgotten it was a Rubber Chicken Factory. He did the books for a Rubber Chicken Factory. It's hilarious.
They had a great need for rubber chickens in Victorian London.
Yeah, and Statler and Waldorf giving the commentary on the speech.
Those are some of my favorite quotes of all time.
It was stupid. It was short. I loved it. Just like classic characters. Had to find a good spot for them.
Yeah. I also noticed that Gonzo sort of works in this film by the same rules as Discworld's death, where like, so basically like when he had that moment with Sam and he is like in Sam's ear and stuff, and then Sam's like, oh, okay, cool. And then he like looks and Gonzo is gone. death basically works the same way, where like you'll have like little scenes where there's like catastrophe happening and someone bumps into someone, and then you just hear, at least in the audio versions, Peter Serafinowicz does the voice of death, and you just hear, "Excuse me," and it just like moves on. Like they just have the little joke and then they move right along. And Gonzo works by the same rules.
Right. Like he whispers in the ear and Sam hears it, but then Sam immediately forgets where he heard it from.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, that was weird.
Yeah, why'd I say that? Oh, okay, whatever. Just brush it off.
100% exactly the same. So yeah. And just also, this is so random, but it just makes me so happy. Like the little kiss that Rizzo does on Gonzo's nose.
Oh yeah.
When he's like frustrating him, he's just like, mwah. He's just so sweet. I just love it. It's just like, again, that little moment of just like we're not standing on any kind of like weird, like what do you call it? Just like, oh, this is how like men have to be or whatever, and they can't be affectionate or whatever. Just like all of that like weird toxic masculinity stuff or whatever. Like just like, no, it's just like a sweet little like, I love you and you love me. Ha ha ha.
I'm going to keep coming back to this. Their repartee is like one of the things that I think elevates this telling of the story, because the story itself is very simple, right? You've got this like 3-act thing with like a 3-act middle, basically. You've got Scrooge is grumpy. Scrooge learns a lesson in 3 parts.
Yeah.
And then the last act where he has learned his lesson and he is now spreading cheer. Like it's a really short, simple story. But the thing that makes it entertaining and keeps the thread of the story going is Gonzo and Rizzo like interjecting and giving like the background and the little details and things like that. It's so great.
Yeah.
They have all the best lines too.
Oh, of course. Of course they do. They're not the main characters, but sometimes it's not the main character who has the best lines.
Thanks for making me a part of this.
Yeah. I'm from New Jersey. So just so many like little details. Like
Rizzo falls on the goose and he's like, "You have all the fun." Gonzo. Like,
and also the book A Christmas Carol also has a really amazing history. We watched the film a couple of years ago, The Man Who Invented Christmas.
Yes, we
which
did.
Is also an excellent film, and perhaps one day we will do for this podcast.
Perhaps.
Yeah. And also, it was self-published, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yay for self-publishing.
100%.
Yeah.
And the story of just how it came together is insane and amazing, and just it's such a funny little miracle of a book, really, because it also changed the world. Like a lot of the reasons that we celebrate Christmas the way we do now is because of the popularity of A Christmas Carol.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could
Christmas
buy that.
existed. It was a holiday, but it wasn't like the huge big thing that it is now. So
you're saying before Christmas Carol, a lot of people were bah humbug, but now they know how to keep Christmas.
That's not what I'm saying, but okay, I'll let you have it. I'll let it go.
There were a bunch of Scrooges running around, and then they read this book.
Wow.
And they were changed in an instant.
Okay.
The spirits got it all done in one night.
Okay.
They could do whatever they want.
Yep. Oh my gracious. That is very good. I've set myself up for it and I didn't even see it coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, and also Miss Piggy as Emily Cratchit. Chef's kiss. Perfection.
Not a ton of screen time, but again, like elevates the part. Could have been a throwaway, like, oh, the wife character that blends into the background. But Miss Piggy, puts herself forward.
She's going to throw down.
Oh, yeah.
She is going to thrash a Michael Caine.
Yeah. She will raise your, wait, salary? What? Huh?
Yeah. No, she's going to raise him right off the pavement.
Yeah, that's right.
I would pay to see that fight.
Even though she couldn't tell her own daughters apart, Belinda and Petunia.
It's Bertina.
What is it?
It's Bertina.
No.
Yes.
Okay, no.
Look it up. Take a second to look it up right now.
I think it's Petunia and Belinda.
It's Bertina.
No, I'm not going to look it up. I'm just going to leave all of this in the podcast and I'm going to be right.
You're not.
I'm confident that I'm right.
Just like a man.
And one of us will be right and the other will be wrong.
You know, one of us was watching the credits at the end too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I know what I wrote down.
And what I wrote on this paper is the truth.
Yes.
Oh man. Okay. Anyway, I'm trying to see what else I had because I have a lot of different things.
I don't know.
I did actually just on this viewing, this 1000th viewing or whatever it is.
Right.
I only just now realized that the Ghost of Christmas Past is a Muppet child.
Is that what it is?
Okay, yeah. No, like this threw me for years because they do a bit of movie pokey jiggery with like making her really like bright and shiny.
Uh-huh. There's definitely some sort of effect going on with like the flowy garb and the shiny face and stuff.
I was like, I was looking at because it's always been like, why does she look so uncanny?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I know she's supposed to be a child. It always struck me as weird. And I looked really closely this time. She is a Muppet face child.
Okay.
Like the same way that the Ghost of Christmas Present is a Muppet.
Right.
So
They're
that's
all Muppets,
why that's why the eyes and everything like weirded me out.
Okay.
Because they're not actually human eyes. Like for years I've tried to figure out like how is this a human face? But well, it's not. So there we go.
Gotcha.
So that I literally just on this viewing figured that out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Ghost of Christmas Present, which is a lot of fun.
Oh,
Obviously.
he's my favorite.
I
want to hang with him.
He's a large absent-minded spirit.
Yeah. Which is also straight from the book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Charles Dickens, he was a funny writer.
Wait, was he like a good writer? Did he like write really well?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Here's the thing. Charles Dickens does get a bit of a bad rap, but you have to remember, he was paid by the word, which is why he took an entire paragraph to describe dead as a doornail, and then how dead is a doornail.
Yeah. That does need explaining to some people.
He was paid by the word.
Okay, that does explain A Tale of Two Cities.
Uh-huh.
And it's like the size of a cinder block.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, it's immense.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I can't blame the guy. If I was paid by the word, oh boy, there would be some real long books coming out. Like, oh, this had to be 600,000 words. That's just what it took. I'm sorry.
All necessary? Yes, of course.
Yes,
very
now
necessary.
please give me my money. So yeah, he does get a bad rap for having like long, dry books and stuff, but like he's very funny and very clever.
Mm-hmm.
And also he wrote in defense of the poor and those who were forced to go work in workhouses and whatnot, which were horrible conditions and just awful situations. So yeah, which, you know, was, oh my gosh, I can't believe you would do that at this time.
Yeah. You know, and you might think that, you know, that sort of subject matter that is covered in this story, you know, is a little heavy for a children's movie, but, you know, that's all right. This is culture.
Another classic line.
I'm just trying to squeeze in as many Gonzo quotes as I can.
Oh my gosh, you're doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what is kind of a glowing review of this film in itself?
Yeah.
That it's a musical, and I like it.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Is it the only musical that you like?
It's on a very short list. I'm not going to try and think of others right now.
Because that was going to be my next question is like, what are others that you do like?
I mean, I saw The Lion King and Phantom of the Opera live, and I like those.
Okay, I love that you love them, but those are very different situations.
Yes. Movie, like film musicals. It's a real short list, but I think there's a couple things that contribute to this film being good to me. One, nostalgia. Saw it when I was a kid.
Totally.
That helps. Two, the songs are really good. Except for maybe the last one, the second last one, the one with the family, where they're at the Cratchit house in the future the present. And there's that song about the family.
Are you talking about The Love We Found?
Maybe that one? No. It's not that one. It's the one before that.
The Bless Us All Who Gather Here.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
I think that's kind of a weak link.
It's a sweet song, though. Are you really going to tell Tiny Tim that you hate his song? You heard it here, folks. Mike hates Tiny Tim's song.
No, I don't hate Tiny Tim. His God bless us, everyone is precious. I think it doesn't need to be in song form in that moment. It's a bit over the line sweet for me.
Uh-huh. A little too saccharine.
A little too much. And the other songs have more like energy or like oomph to them. You know, the one about Grumpy Scrooge or about, you know, Christmas being happy is all like jaunty and bouncy. It's kind of mid, but
okay.
But yeah, the rest of the songs great, and they are not too many. And they also are interjected in ways that don't seem as awkward as some other musicals do. I think it's because some musicals, it's just like two people talking and then they start singing and dancing together.
I was going to say, is it like the Les Mis thing where like, and now I am telling you how do I feel and what I've done, and now I'm telling you about my history.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it doesn't do that. It's more filling in the spaces with like montage. They're like montages that set the scene, but they're not taking the place of dialogue.
Okay.
So I think that's how it works for me.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And I know that with Phantom, because you actually kind of enjoyed the film as well.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, I remember you taking me to it on, it wasn't our first date. It might have been our first official date.
The line's kind of blurry on that, but yeah.
No, like when we actually got together, a little blurry. But anyway, I remember that like you took me to a special showing of the film when it came out.
Well, I also knew that you were a big fan, and
Huge.
you know,
yeah,
maybe I scored some points.
There you go. Yeah, starting off strong.
Yeah.
And I know that you kind of like that, but I know that the fact that it is literally set in a place meant to do musicals is like a whole part of it for you. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it works.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, you know, there's lots of good jokes.
Mm-hmm.
The rats are all funny.
Oh, those rats were gonna hang Kermit out to dry again and again.
It's the frog's idea. Our assets are frozen.
That's one of those good jokes that's so good because like the adults can appreciate it.
Yeah.
And maybe the children don't get it.
Or maybe the children get it for a different reason, but they don't get the full meaning of it.
Like, haha, I'm going to use the word asset.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Mm-hmm. I always, as a child, once I learned the word asinine, I always felt a little dangerous using that word. Like, that's asinine.
Oh, my goodness. You were such a rebel.
I know.
Oh, my goodness. Oh. I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to say.
I don't either. I just this is such a good film and I love it so much.
It is so good. We were talking about the songs. Some people might say that Michael Caine singing is a weak link in the songs of this film.
I was going to ask you, what you thought of his singing voice? Because I can't always tell in these situations.
Well, I don't think that it's very good as far as a singing voice. He does okay. You could tell that it was like dubbed over and there was probably some extra production done in the studio to try and make it sound as good as possible. But I think it works on a story level and a character level within this film because the whole time the other people that are singing are like joyful, happy, and it comes naturally to them. This scene where Michael Caine as Scrooge sings for the first time.
Yeah.
It's his first expression of like happiness and joy. And he's not very good at it yet.
Okay.
You know, he's kind of learning the ropes of that.
Sure.
So he's making more of a joyful noise. But it's good enough, you know? I think it really, if you get down to like to that character and story level, it's just right.
I can dig it.
If you're just listening to the soundtrack, yeah, it's not gonna like stand out as great. But in the context of the movie, I think it works. I think it works really well.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I like that very much. It's very thoughtful.
Yeah,
cool.
And you know, kind to SIR Michael Caine.
Yeah,
for his best effort, which I'm sure that he gave.
Oh yeah, because again, we've established this man does not phone it in.
Or if he can sing better than that and he toned it down to match the character, then he's just even more genius.
That's true. Yeah.
Let's just give him credit either way.
I wonder, I bet you can Google to see if Michael Caine actually can sing well.
I don't know. I bet that's probably just his voice. But
it might be. I don't know.
I don't want to give him too much credit that he deserves.
What credit does he not deserve?
I don't know. All of it? Sure.
Yeah, he's just amazing.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this movie is great. It stands up. Even most of the effects and visuals like stand up. There's a little bit of like Superman flying part that
oh, it's fine.
It's okay. It was 1992, but the rest of it, I think there are some scenes that are even legitimately like, I don't know how they did that back in 1992 and made it look so good. You can't see the wires anywhere. You never see it.
Yeah.
And speaking of how good this movie is, let's do the thing where we give it a rating.
We do that thing.
Yeah, at the end of the show, not based on our amateur critic credentials, which are none, but first based on how steampunk is this movie on a scale of 1 to 5 steam engines. Dana, how steampunk is A Muppet Christmas Carol?
Okay. I think you might disagree with me, but I'm gonna give it 5.
5? What?
Yes.
That seemed kind of crazy.
No, because of how authentic everything about this movie is. Between the narration and pulling actual lines from the book, from the little town they've basically built, this immersive little set where everything looks exactly as it should, all of the costumes, just everything about it. I mentioned it's an amazing adaptation. It's the best adaptation there is. I'm giving it 5.
Sure. You know what? In the spirit of the season, I will not argue with you. We'll just give it 5.
Oh my gosh, your heart grew 3 sizes.
Wait, am I the Grinch here? Never mind.
That is what I was implying.
Let's go on to rate it based on how much we enjoyed it. Dana, how much did you enjoy watching A Muppet Christmas Carol this 357th time on a scale of 1 to 5 gears?
Surprise, surprise, surprise. I'm going to give it 5.
No surprise at all. My scale, 1 to 5 top hats, it's 5. This movie is great.
It's just, everything about it is wonderful.
If you haven't seen it, by some chance, this Christmas season, watch A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, well, it's like an hour and a half of your life.
Yeah, and it'll be a good one.
Have some hot cocoa, have some wine, whatever.
Whatever your seasonal holiday beverage of choice is, or just seasonal, wintry, feel-good coziness beverage.
There you go.
Sit down and have it. Yeah. Any final thoughts, Dana?
No, I love this movie so much. It fills my heart with joy.
You know, and it just gets us in the Christmas mood. It is that time of year, so all of you listening, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate, enjoy it.
Or don't celebrate, enjoy that.
That too. But watch this movie, it's great.
Yeah.
And if there are any other steampunk films that you think we should be watching and reviewing in this coming year, then message us on Twitter at SteamPoweredPod, on Threads or Instagram at SteamPoweredMovies. Give us any feedback or recommendations. Please do that. Thank you for listening. You guys are the best. And as always, we'll see you next time with another steampunk movie. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Let's go put up our tree.